I felt like at that moment, it was like a scream, like, go, Lisa, go, this is your time. So I did it. And I put in my 2 weeks and I was like, I'm going to be home with my daughter. I'm going to take her to classes with me. And I'm going to start my own thing.
Hi everyone, it's Kelly here from the Creative Crafting Club team. We teach people all around the world how to start their own craft clubs for kids. And today I have Lisa here with me from Soulful Creatives. Hi Lisa.
Hi. Hi there. Thank
Hi,
you for having
welcome.
me.
So tell us a bit about yourself. Where are you from? A bit about your background and your family.
So I am Lisa. I am 36 years old. I live in Chicago, the suburbs of Chicago, with my husband and my 3-year-old. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah, so she comes to the art classes with me that I do right now, which is really nice. And my background, I've ventured to a lot of different types of professions and places, which ultimately led me here, which I like to think. So I went to school to study special education. I always loved working with people with disabilities. So I did that for about 10 years, and then I faced some teacher burnout and decided to pivot. So as I was trying to figure out and navigate where I was going to go, I went to a staffing agency and they placed me as an executive assistant at a bank, which is like a total 180 from what I was doing. um, However, that's what I ended up doing before I made the leap to open up my art club. But I will say I did that for a while. I really loved the people, and I think it gave me a lot of good administrative skills that I really did not have before.
That brings us to our next question. What was your life like before you started your club? Just more in terms of the flexibility, your schedule. Did you have long days? How has this club changed things for you?
It is completely different now. Basically when I made the leap and I ended up quitting that job because I just felt like I wasn't really like living my truth. I wasn't really doing what I was put here for. And it put a lot of things in perspective for me, especially as like a first time mom. I just kind of wanted to be an example for my daughter to see like, wow, my mom is chasing her dreams and really doing what she wants to do rather than kind of being, more unhappy in her 9 to 5, which I was. So, I was working long hours and, if she was sick, it was just really, really difficult to get a lot of that work done. So I remember the COVID restrictions were lifted at the time, and they wanted me back in the office, which was like an hour and a half commute each way. And I was asking for flexibility, and, they were really good up until then, but they were like, this is just the way that we're going to move forward. And that was it for me. But I felt like it wasn't like a bad thing. I felt like it was like what had been such a quiet whisper for a long time to push me out and to get me to do this. I felt like at that moment, it was like a scream, like, go, Lisa, go, this is your time. So I did it. And I put in my 2 weeks and I was like, I'm going to be home with my daughter. I'm going to take her to classes with me. I'm going to start my own thing. And now, working for myself, and having this flexibility, she comes to classes with me. So she's getting a lot of the benefits. I can be there with her too and see her thrive. It's amazing. And then I'm also, just able to be there as a mom for her too outside of my classes. So it's changed my entire world.
Tell me about your club and what ages you teach.
So I teach kids anywhere from 1.5 years old up until 11. My most popular classes are the toddler classes. So I offer two different types of classes. One are for the toddlers. They're called the Little Creators, and it's 1.5 to 4-year-olds. That age seems to work well for siblings, especially. And then the elementary aged is anywhere from 5 to 11 years old.
Okay, and then your daughter joins for the toddler ones.
She does. So I started the business when she was a little over 1, and I brought her with me, and I had to do the whole setup, and she was there for all of it. And it was a little tough at first, because she was so young and this was so new for her, but she loved it, and she grew a lot from being in those classes, and I got to witness it and see it. There was just you kind of pull back on little moments, and I would find her in her playroom just like coloring by herself while I would be cooking, and I would peer over and she would be like holding the pencil the right way this time, or she could sit and focus for longer, and I was like, it look like this is the results of her coming to class, and she was so young. So
Amazing.
awesome. Yeah. I think a lot of people, when they see me doing it, they're like, oh gosh, that'd be awesome. But like, how do you, juggle it with toddler life? And I am very ordinary. There's no special or magical thing that I do or that I have. I think it's um, just knowing that if you really want to do it, lean into it. You really can do it, even amongst motherhood, because something that comes up a lot is, if your child is sick or if you have to be out and you're running a business, and that does happen. But what I have found is that, like, mostly people are really understanding, especially people that are bringing their children to your classes. They're also moms and they get it. And I mean, there's even been times where if my daughter's super sick or something, or I'm not feeling well, I'll even take a little time off, or I'll just be like, this week class is off, and it doesn't really bat people away. People will usually just reschedule the next week. And it's really,
Mm.
really important to do that for you. Your energy is what you bring to your class. People, that's what sticks with people and how they feel. So yeah, I've definitely had to do that, and it all ends up still being okay.
Mm. And how awesome to be in a business where you can actually be flexible, set your own hours, and if you need a break, you take a break. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is huge for sure.
What has been your favorite part of your journey so far?
Being able to see my daughter grow a lot. She loves art now. And I really do think it's because she's exposed to it so much. And she expresses herself well. And I really do attribute a lot of that to her coming to these classes. So that, I think, is my favorite part. Seeing it firsthand as a mom, I think that that's powerful for other moms to see too. I think too, for her to see that I am chasing my dreams and I'm working really hard, but I'm happy doing it, is what I want her to see. I want her to know that you don't have to just fit somewhere, that you don't really want to do. You can go after it and chase something that you really love.
Mm. It's totally possible. Yeah.
Yes.
And I also wanted to ask, are you using the CCC curriculum and our crafting projects for your classes?
I am. Yes, I love it. I was so happy I found you guys, because when I started the club, or when I started my business, I had not found you yet. And I was struggling with all of the administrative tasks and all the other to-dos in my business. I was struggling to come up with, lesson plans. It takes a lot of time. So, especially, mom life, it was a lot. So I found you guys and I was so excited. What I love is like just the layout of the lookbook, and you can go through all the lessons by ages and holidays. So I do that a lot. I'll just sit down with my planner and rifle through the whole website and just pick and choose what I need for holidays, for the ages, and this and that. So I do use them very often. Sometimes I'll just tweak here and there based on if it's a toddler group or, what have you. But it is the basis for most of my classes, which is awesome.
Great. Yeah.
Mhm.
How has starting a club changed your life and what has it made possible for you?
It has changed my life completely. It's made it possible for me to be a more present mom. It's also given me a lot of flexibility in my life, just as far as the everyday errands and to-dos. I have my class schedule, but now I have other time slots where I'm able to be more flexible with what I need to do in my life. Um, and I think that that's really key and was really big for me. I also just love that I am finding that you make these connections with other businesses or other people as you're going along, and it opens up doors to things that I would not have even known. For example, I collaborate a lot with a local restaurant nearby, and they do these elaborate events. They deck their place out in a bunch of holiday stuff. So they're very popular. And they'll partner up with us with me, and I'll just bring the art stuff and all the supplies, and I'll kind of help advertise it. We just divvy up all the to-dos and come together, and it's usually like quite a good, successful, big event. And those are things that just kind of came up as I was going along in this journey, and I didn't really think about that or plan that, wasn't really part of like my idea at the time. So I just love how things unfold that you don't really expect to happen. And it ends up being really fantastic.
Do you have one of those events coming up this holiday season?
I do, yes. I have all around me right now are all of my all of my art supplies in my room. I have a event coming up. It's hot cocoa with Santa on Gingerbread Lane, and it's at this restaurant that I'm talking about. It is in a few weeks, so I'll be posting some pictures from it. But families will come to the restaurant. I'll bring all the supplies, and I'm making cardboard big gingerbread boxes. And then we're using pieces of pasta and a bunch of other little multimedia supplies like pom-poms and, things like that. And we'll make like a gingerbread craft. They'll make it together as a family, so it's family friendly. And then they'll get to enjoy a hot cocoa bar. And then the restaurant is partnering up with Santa Claus. So Santa's going to come and visit.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's just a nice little bundle, kind of a lot of different things for people to do.
And people are always looking for something to do in the holidays.
Yeah, it's a busy
Take their
time.
kids somewhere.
Yeah, I think the family friendly is a big thing for sure.
And then are you just, if you don't mind me asking, are you sharing the profits with the venue, or are they hiring you, or how does that work?
Yeah, so basically when we choose something, they'll tell me on their end first what cut that they need from every ticket. So I'll set up on my website through WebHub, I'll set up the sign up link. So I kind of take care of all that. And then once they give me the profit that they need from each family, then I think of the materials and, the time that I need to prep everything. And I create the profit that I need too on my end to generate the full price ticket. So, so for example, this one, with all that included, it starts at $65, and then any additional person's just $5 extra. So then I know when they sign up, I just know exactly who gets what cut. So
great. Yeah. Sounds like a good system that you've got, collaborating with a restaurant, on an ongoing basis. Every time there's a holiday, you can do a new event. That's great.
Yeah, it seems to be working well, and it gets you exposed into the community too. That's where I do my business. So it's a good way to get out there and get your name out.
Yeah, because you do expand as you've seen. You start with kids classes, and then someone wants you to do an event. So you do an event, and then maybe someone wants you to do a birthday party, and then you grow from there. So you start offering more and more things.
Yes, I actually did start doing that too. I do birthday parties as well. It's not as frequent that I do them, but I do offer them if someone asks. I feel like I'm kind of at my maximum capacity right now, but if someone does ask or, request something online, then I do make time for it and do it. Those are very fun.
It's actually so exciting to know that if you wanted to, you could really expand further into different avenues. You might even have to hire some staff members, though, to keep up with the demand.
Yes. That's where I was at with it. I was like, I may need a little, someone to help, or like a sub. So the place that I actually do my art classes is at an event space for children, and she lets me rent out her place every week for my classes. So she has a bunch of staff there, and they're usually, younger high schoolers. They're really great with the children, and they're fantastic. So for one of the events that I was doing with the restaurant, it ended up being really big. I ended up needing some help, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm going to need another hand. I can't do this all by myself. So I contacted the person that rents her space out to me, and I was like, hey, can I possibly hire one of your girls to help out for this event? And it was not a problem at all. She came, she was fantastic, and it was super helpful. So I think, like, again, the different avenues you could go and making connections, and it ended up working out really well. And the help is needed sometimes. It's worth it. So
For sure. And tell me a little bit more about your WebHub website. Has that helped you a lot with your bookings? And yeah, what do you use WebHub for?
yeah, I use Webhub for everything now on my website. I was using a different platform before that was free, and it just wasn't doing everything I needed it to do. It was a lot more work that I had to do. And then Webhub came in and it helped being able to have you guys like make the template for me to go. So at least everything was kind of there rather than me starting from scratch. I use it for everything now, for the events, for my classes, for tracking invoicing and my monthly payments and conversations with clients. I use it for virtually everything. Yeah, it's been very helpful.
Yeah, your website looks amazing. I love
Oh,
the
thank
color
you.
scheme. Like it's sort of like hippie vibes, the
Oh, good.
orange and brown. Yeah, it's cool. Very cool.
That's the vibe I was going for. So that's good that you caught that aesthetic.
Yeah, great. So, what advice would you give someone who's looking to start a club?
Before thinking of taking this route, find your inspiration, set aside that time, and really dream up what you envision for yourself. Even if it doesn't end up panning out that exact way, at least it gets you into action.
Very excited to see pictures from your holiday workshop, your gingerbread house workshop. It sounds awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and thanks for meeting with me today. It was so nice to get to know you better.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, we'll see you inside the community.
All right. Sounds great. Bye.
Cool. Bye.